this can come only from a person who has viewed the personality whose life, studying his life became his passion only as a devotee. We can see that age has tired his bones, but his spirit is still assertive young. I wish and pray a long, healthy life to Tirusini Viswanathan, so that what he told me that he has not completed the work as yet, he would take it forward, add more volumes to it. I would also like to thank Alliance Publication, Thiru Srinivasan, for an audacious task of publishing this. I say audacious because what I understand is that he has been looking for patrons, and it came to me as a shock. My introduction to Mahakavi Bharti was as a school student, as a high school student. In our text, there was a chapter on Mahakavi. There was a chapter on Subramaniam Bharati. That's how I came to know about this great person, a gist of, you can understand in a high school textbook, how much can be written. But the bhav, the essence was the great freedom fighter, a great nationalist, a great poet, a great whatnot. And that left me inspired that lesson. Thereafter, being a student of science, I pursued my science studies. When I came to this estate about 3.5 years back, I saw in Raj Bhavan there are plenty of statues, but somehow Bharti was missing. And then, thanks to Bharti Vidya Bhavan, we installed a statue of Mahakavi Bharti in Raj Bhavan. I kept looking for more opportunities, what all? How to shed the legacies of the colonial rule and come to terms with our present reality as an independent, confident nation. Then, what struck me was a colonial legacy of Darbar Hall. Darbar used to be the king. And I said, no, Darbar Hall has no business to stand as a Darbar Hall. It has to be rechristened. And then we thought, who could be a more appropriate person, because that's the place where all this swearing in happens, whether the chief minister, whether it is the chief justice, whether the ministers, all those and major events that happen. I think this hall must be sanctified with the name of Bhartiyar, and the Honorable President kindly agreed, and he did this. I must confess that my knowledge of Bharati's work, Bhartiyar work, is very limited, obviously. But I can also claim that you need not know all the work. One has to make, there are a lot of experts sitting here on the dais, they know much more, they can talk about Mahakavi for days together. But my own sense is that suppose if to understand the magnitude of Himalaya, You don't have to be a geologist. You don't have to know that length and breadth and height of this. Just stand nearby and see and feel humbled. How high, how mighty this Himalaya is. And from that perspective, when I look at this great son of Ma Bharati, it gives me an altogether an ethereal feeling. A great lover of Tamil language. I think the amount of service that he has done to Tamil language, I don't think there could be parallel. There are many great writers, great poets, I don't deny that. But in the last 1 or 2 centuries, if there is anyone who has done so much service to the language, in my understanding, my limited understanding, I don't think anyone can come close to him. He was a proud Tamilian. In fact, when the British were trying to dissuade the people here to learn Tamil and move towards English as a medium of instruction, of course, they had already introduced English as a medium of instruction. And they encouraged by various means, by inducement, by threat, by coercion, people to move away from Tamil. They called Tamil a vernacular language. We know vernacular what it means. A language of a born slave. That is the literal meaning of it. They didn't consider it as a language. And at that time, how Mahakavi responded, I came across one letter to editor in 1900 and, if I remember correctly, perhaps 1916, 19th October. Those days when the British were persuading at various levels and coercing at the ground people to move from Tamil to English, J.C. Rollo, who was the principal of Pachayappa College, he was on a campaign also to say that the only capable language to express philosophy, science, higher ideas is English. Tamil is not competent, is not. At that time, it was Mahakavi Bharti who responded with a strong rebuttal. Say no, Tamil is far more capable of scientific and philosophical expression than English. Not only that, he was a great proponent of education in mother tongue. He says that I firmly believe that the most scientific and humane way of imparting instruction, the knowledge, is the mother tongue. He resisted, he stood like a mountain to the British attempt to remove Tamil, downgrade Tamil, and promote English. Create a sense of inferiority complex among the people about their own mother tongue. He was a proud Tamilian who did so much service to the language. But he was also a very proud Bharatiya. He sang song, umpteen number of songs. We heard the children singing some of those songs. He was a devotee of Ma Bharati. Bhartiya, I would not consider him as a mortal being, a human being. He was a divine incarnation. What he did was humanly not possible for even an extraordinary human being. He was way beyond. Now, how do we carry his legacy? In fact, this question, when I ask myself, how do we carry his legacy? It gives me an uneasy feeling that the fact that I am asking this question, it itself is a matter of concern, because ideally Bharti would have been celebrated at a monumental scale in the academia, in the society, in the social life, political life, academic life, everywhere. Because what he did, we heard about speakers talking about his Vishwarup. No aspect of life was untouched or uncovered. But we find this is lacking. Today, I have a sense that Bhartiyar, he lives in the heart of the people. There is no doubt about it. He cannot be just erased. But is that enough? Because we should not let Bhartiyar become just a memory. He must be illuminating, inspiring our life, in our personal life, our national life. That doesn't seem to be happening. In fact, when I came, we have 20 state universities. Of course, one of the universities is named after him, but that's the end of it. I looked for, is there any Subramaniam Bharti chair for doing research and work? What Tiruseni Viswanathan did, people would have been working on his. I know there are people, not many people who have done PhD and all in literature on Bharti. But it's dedicated centers, not one or two, multiple. Multiple centers. You see how the centers have come upon Ramayana. Multiple centers. Because Bharati's personality was infinite. It requires large number of people, scholars to work. But I was disappointed that we don't have even one Subramaniam Bharti chair in any of our state universities, as far as I know. And my attempt to have a chair, I must confess that it was 3.5 years of my effort. I am yet to succeed. Because not that the vice chancellors are unwilling, they are very keen. But they come under extreme pressure and threat. I wondered why. Even this publication, the huge treasure wealth, looking for patrons, asking for university, academia, university, schools, colleges to have it. Each one of them have multiple copies of this in their libraries. And I believe publicity is struggling to look for. Why? Why have we come to such a stage? Come to think of this a great event today is a historic event, and I find this auditorium empty. Where have we reached? But then, this where we have reached, despite the fact that the Bhartiyar lives in the heart of the people, it has to be overcome. Because we need him, we need his work, and I'm sure it will happen. Unfortunately, here we have an ecosystem that feels completely insecure talking about Bhartiyar. Because Bhartiyar talked about Bharat. He looked at Bharat as a Devi. But here we have an ecosystem which doesn't believe in Bharat as a nation. Bhartiyar talked about Akhand Bharat, Shedamillada Hindustanam. Here there are people who are to break this. Bhartiyar talked about symphony, harmony between Kanchi and Kashi. But here you have an ecosystem that divides the north and south. Bhartiyar praised Vedas. Here we have people who hate Vedas. Bhartiyar believed in inclusive existence of the whole Bharat Samudaya. We heard the prayer. But no. And so, given the fact that we have an ecosystem which feels insecure with Bhartiyar, what to do? What do we do next confronted with such a situation? You know, like the character the very nature of our country, Bharat, has been that such treasures have been preserved and cherished and celebrated not by establishments, but by the people, by the society. It is a society which has to take the ownership of Bhartiyar's legacy, what he left behind. Because the ecosystem, since it feels challenged because the two cannot coexist. So, and the fact that the Bhartiyar lives in the heart of the people, he cannot be publicly downgraded. He cannot be insulted. People will not tolerate that. So that ecosystem has adopted a strategy of active indifference and passive hostility. Active indifference, don't talk about him. Don't have a chair or a study about him. Indifference could be passive as well, that you are not interested. It is not the case. It is active indifference and passive hostility. Because someone wishes to do, for example, I told you creating a chair in the name of Subramanian Bharti in the university, to put the pressure. No, don't do that. Without being loud and open about it. Now in this situation, I think the responsibility lies with the society. Bharat, long before it became a political state, has been a cultural civilizational nation. It has survived for thousands and thousands of years, not only survived but prospered. Society has taken the ownership of the legacies of the great people. If Ramayana, if a story of Sri Ram is here lives in the heart of every Bharatiya, it's not because of Indian state or any state. It is because the society took the ownership. What Valmiki did, what Kambar did, what Tulsi did, they did the work and left it. But society adopted it, assimilated it. And I am confident that Tiruseni Viswanathan will be remembered for all time to come, like as we remember Kambar and Tulsidas, what he has done. But then, that work has to be what the work he has done. The legacy of Mahakavi Bharati has to be, its ownership has to be taken up by the society. By the non-state universities, university colleges, schools, they have to take up. Because expecting the establishment to accept it, I tell you, somebody said that perhaps there was an element of corruption. They wanted at some point of time, they wanted a cut from the publisher. I don't agree with that. There is no dearth of money here. Therefore, no, they can have money from other sources. I think because Bhartiyar is an existential threat to that ecosystem. So expecting that ecosystem to adopt it, I don't see that is happening, unlikely. And so long the ecosystem is in a position to thwart it. It will happen. There's no doubt about it. Time will come. It will happen. But we don't expect it happening anytime soon. It may take some time. But until then, the private universities, even technical, because it's not that Bhartiya, what he did is not just, technical universities are not just sort of producing graduates and PhDs only in technical matter. They also produce good human beings, good citizens. So universities, non-state universities, colleges, schools, they have to take the leadership. We have to have many Bhartiyar clubs. There were existing clubs. I'm told that there were some groups and all, they're all dormant. Or when those who are active, I was surprised when I find there's Vanavil Ravi on the Bhartiya's birthday coming and we all gave shoulder. I have happily lent my shoulder to carry Bhartiya. But I thought that Bhartiya on this should have been carried on the shoulders in every street of this state, not only here. Why is it that Prime Minister Narendra Modi has to set up a Subramaniam Bharti chair in BHU? Why not we have a Subramaniam Bharti chair here? Here we talk about Tamil language, in the same way that for 6 decades the rulers of this country talked about removing poverty and they kept adding number of poor. In 1947, we were the 6th largest economy. By 2014, we declined to 11th position. We became so much poorer. Thanks to the present Prime Minister's leadership and all, that now we have come to the 5th largest and we are going to soon be the 3rd largest. But for 6 decades, people made a lot of slogan, Garibi Hatao, remove poverty, and they enjoyed power. Similarly, people are talking about Tamil without doing service to the language and the literature. Now as the shelf life of lies are not long, it is getting exposed. It will get exposed. But then, until then, the society has to take over the ownership of Bhartiyar's legacy. I don't see any other. And that's how it should be. I think there is no dearth of goodness in our people. I have traveled all across the state. I find people are inherently good, very good. They are proud of their culture, their language, their civilizations, themselves. They need a direction. And I think, who could be a better guide than Mahakavi Bharti? His lessons, his life. We are trying to, in fact, I have urged the publisher to have it translated in other Indian languages so that we take it to the rest of the country. Because Bhartiya doesn't belong to this particular, he belongs to Bharat. The whole Bharat. He sang the song for Bharat. So the whole country must know. I'm sure it will happen. And I once again thank Bharat Vikas Parishad, Vanavil Foundation, and Bharti Pasarai for organizing this event Vidya Bhavan, Bharti Vidya Bhavan, which has always been at the forefront of preserving, promoting Bhartiya culture, our civilizational value. They are always available. The energy with which, enthusiasm with which they have been serving this country is laudatory, is a matter of pride for all of us. I thank each one of you present here, and I once again thank Tiruseni Viswanathan. I express my sense of gratitude to him. Though he has been conferred with the Padma Award, because Prime Minister, when he got to know, he was moved. He says, who could be a better person than him? I congratulate him for that, and I express my deep sense of gratitude for his devotion, his work, which has resulted in what we have in front of us, which will keep illuminating us for all time to come. Thank you very much. Jai Bharat.
धन्यवाद माननीय राज्यपाल महोदय, आपकी उपस्थिति से यह अभिनंदन समारोह वाकई में भव्य बन गया है. Thank you very much. After listening to luminous addresses today, the speeches of greats here on the dais, today one is surely impelled to internalize two irrefutable verses of Mahakavi Bharati. Bharatiyar சொல்றார், நெஞ்சுக்கு நீதியும் தோளுக்கு வாழும் நிறைந்த சுடர் மணிப்பூன். He fuels us to delve deep into the physical limitlessness. And then from there on, he takes to make us realize that we are Aham Brahmasmi, to make us be resident in Anandamaya Kosha, as the Panchakoshas say. He says, மோகத்தை கொன்று விடு அல்லால் எந்தன் மூச்சை நிறுத்தி விடு தேகத்தை சாய்த்து விடு அல்லால் அதில் சிந்தனை மாய்த்து விடு. Who else apart from Bharati could imagine this and say this? Bharatiyar's works are truly the elixir towards living an unfaltered life for generations to come. May I now request Thiru Sini Viswanathan Avargal, the Nayakan of today, to kindly deliver his acceptance speech.
ஏற்புரை. எல்லோருக்கும் வணக்கம். இந்த இனிய விழாவில் தம்முடைய பல்வேறு அலுவலர்களுக்கிடையேயும் தமது பொன்னான நேரத்தையும் ஒதுக்கி இங்கு வருகை புரிந்துள்ள மாண்புமிகு தமிழக ஆளுநர் அவர்களுக்கு முதற்கண் என்னுடைய நன்றியை தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறேன். என்னுடைய பாரதி பணிகளை அறிந்து ராஜ்பவனில் சந்தித்த ஆளுநர் மிக்க கனிவுடன் என்னை பாராட்டி மகிழ்ந்தார். அதுபோது ஆளுநர் அவர்கள் பாரதி பெயரில் கொண்டிருந்த பற்றை நான் உணர்ந்து மகிழ்ச்சியும் பெருமிதமும் அடைந்தேன். எனது பாரதி பணிகளை வெளி உலகிற்கு அறிமுகம் செய்து வைத்த பெருமைக்குரிய நல்லி குப்புசாமி செட்டியார், துக்ளக் சோ, தற்போதைய ஆசிரியர் திரு எஸ் குருமூர்த்தி, தினமணி ஆசிரியர் திரு கே வைத்தியநாதன், மதுரை ராமகிருஷ்ண மடத்தின் தலைவராக விளங்கிய சுவாமி கமலாத்மானந்தர், கோபாலன், சுந்தர்ராமன் மற்றும் நண்பர்களுக்கும் என் இதயபூர்வமான நன்றியை தெரிவித்துக் கொள்வதில் கடமைப்பட்டிருக்கிறேன். பாருங்கும் பாரதி புகழ் பரப்பும் பாரதி பிரதமர் நரேந்திர மோடி அவர்கள் புதுடில்லியில் தமது இல்லத்தில் அலையன்ஸ் கம்பெனி வெளியிட்ட கால வரிசையிலான பாரதி படைப்புகளை வெளியிட்டு என் பணிக்கு அங்கீகாரம் அளித்தார். பாரத பிரதமர் அவர்களுக்கும் என் மனமார்ந்த நன்றியறிதலை தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறேன். கால வரிசைப்படி 23 தொகுதிகளை வெளியிட்டுள்ள அலையன்ஸ் சீனிவாசன் அவர்களுக்கு என் நன்றி மற்றும் பத்மஸ்ரீ விருது எனக்கு என் பெயரை தேர்ந்தெடுத்த மத்திய அமைச்சர்களுக்கும் என் உணர்கழிந்த நன்றியறிதலை புலப்படுத்திக் கொள்கிறேன். நான் பெற்ற பெருமைகள் எல்லாம் நான் பாரதியின் இளவல் திரு சி. விஸ்வநாத ஐயர் மற்றும் பதிப்புத்துறைக்கு என்னை ஈடுபடுத்திய விடுதலை போராட்ட வீரர் தியாகி சின்னண்ணாமலை அவர்களையே சாரும். இதோ ஒரு மனிதன் என்று பாராட்டி பரவலாக பலர் அறிய செய்தவர் கவியரசு கண்ணதாசன் ஆவார். நிகழ்ச்சியை சிறப்பாக நடத்தும் அமைப்பாளர்களுக்கும் நிகழ்ச்சியில் பங்கு பெற்று என் பணிகளை பாராட்டி பேசிய அறிஞர் பெருமக்களுக்கும் எனது நெஞ்சார்ந்த நன்றி, வணக்கம். வயதின் காரணமாக சில இடங்களில் தடுமாற்றம் ஏற்பட்டது, மன்னிக்கவும்.
Many thanks. May I now request the Rivanavil K. Ravi to kindly present the vote of thanks.
With the permission of the chair, I'll take 3 minutes. தெளிவுறவே அறிந்திடுதல் தெளிவுதரம் ஒழிந்திடுதல் சிந்திப்பார்க்கே கழிவளர உள்ளத்தில் ஆனந்த கனவு பல காட்டல் கண்ணீர் துளி வர உள் உருக்குதல் இங்கிவையெல்லாம் நீ அருளும் தொழில்களன்றோ ஒளி வளரும் தமிழ்வாணி அடியனேற்கு இவை அனைத்தும் உதவுவாயே. வணக்கம். I thank on behalf of Bharat Vikas Parishad, Vanavil Cultural Center and Bharti Pasarai, the Honorable Governor of Tamil Nadu, Thiru R.N. Ravi, who I would say is a warrior governor. He is not an armchair executive, but who fights from the frontline warrior, who would like to infuse and revive the spirit of nationalism in this state, which is latent in everyone's heart. And I also thank all the other dignitaries here, Nalli Kuppusamy Chettiar, the Vallal of Tamil Nadu, Dr. Sudha Seshayan, Dr. Vaidya Subramaniam, my dear friend Mr. Maki Ramanan, Mr. Prabhakaran, and the Surutradari of this event, the Bharat Vikas Parishad Kannan. Let us give him a big hand. And of course, all the Bharati devotees who have come here, especially Mr. Ramaswamy of Bhavan, my dear friend Mr. Subbu, Mr. Ramanan, journalist, and I see a lot of scholars who have come here, all who have assembled here to felicitate a scholar par excellence, Tirusini Vishwanathan. I also thank all the children and their teachers who not merely entertained us but elevated us by singing a few songs of Mahakavi Bharati. I'll be failing in my duty if I do not thank one person who has been the pillar of support for this event, but an unseen pillar, Mr. Alliance Srinivasan, who has brought out these 23 volumes. Of course, Soumya, you made this event very sweet and pleasant by your nice comparing. And I thank the entire staff of Raj Bhavan for the cooperation. And of course, I also thank my sister, Shobana Ramesh, for being behind the screen and presenting us that excellent morning music program. And P.S. Raja, who did all the work behind the screen. I thank the photographers and videographers. And in short, உடன் நின்று உதவிய அத்தனை கைகளையும் ஓடி உழைத்த அத்தனை கால்களையும் வணங்குகிறேன். I take clue from what Honorable Governor spoke and just say a few words in a minute. யார் தலைவன்? இந்த கேள்வி எல்லாருக்கும் நமக்கெல்லாம் எழுது. Who is the leader? The one who unites the people, not the one who divides the people. He is the true leader. கரெக்டா? அப்படி ஒரு தலைவன் உண்டா? உண்டு, உண்டு. அந்த யாருன்னு நான் சொல்ல வேண்டாம். நான் சொன்னா ஏத்துக்க மாட்டீங்க. சொன்னது யார்? பார் போற்றும் ஒரு பாவேந்தர் பாரதிதாசன் அடையாளம் காட்டுகிறார். தலைவன் இன்றி தமிழகம் தவிக்கையில் இலகு பாரதி புலவன் தோன்றினான். He shows to the entire Tamil Nadu, here is the leader, Bharti. And why? Why Bharati is the leader? Because அந்த தலைவன் எப்படி தமிழ் மக்கள் அனைவரையும் ஜாதி மற்ற இன பேதங்களின்றி இணைக்க பாடினானோ, அந்த தலைவன் எப்படி 30 கோடி முகமுடையாள் எனில் மொயம்புற ஒன்றுடையாள், இவள் செப்பு மொழி 18 எனில் சிந்தனை ஒன்றுடையாள் என்று பாரத தாயின் புதல்வர்கள் அனைவரையும் ஒன்றிணைக்க பாடினானோ, அந்த தலைவன் எப்படி காக்கை குருவி எங்கள் ஜாதி நீள் கடலும் மலையும் எங்கள் கூட்டம் என்று முழங்கி களியாட்டம் போட்டு உலகம் அனைத்தையும் பிரபஞ்சம் அனைத்தையும் இணைக்க பாடுபட்டானோ, அப்படி அந்த மகாகவியின் அத்தனை பாடல்களையும் அந்த மகாகவியின் அத்தனை உரைநடை படைப்புகளையும் அவனுடைய பத்திரிகை குறிப்புகளையும் தேடி தேடி சென்று தொகுத்து இணைத்த மாபெரும் இலக்கிய தலைவராக இங்கே வீற்றிருக்கும் திரு சீனி விஸ்வநாதன் ஐயா அவர்களுக்கு நன்றி பாராட்டி என்னுடைய உரையை நிறைவு செய்கிறேன். நன்றி.
Thank you, Thiruvanavil Ravi. Ladies and gentlemen, may I request you all to rise up for national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता, पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल वंगा, विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा, तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे, गाहे तव जय गाता, जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता, जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे।